Stay tuned to the end of the video to see the living ink coming from our ink machine. This is going to be the finale of Bendy's ink machine in real life. Okay, let's see where we're at with this ink machine project. So I 3D printed the gears. I'll show you that. And I still need to print the texture for that. And that one goes in like that. And then we need to get this one on the side here mounted. Now I am a big fan of upcycling medical waste. So I'm going to use this to provide it had the perfect size hole for it. And I'm just going to screw it in there, but I've got to cut off a couple parts of it. So I'm going to cut off a little bit here, and I'm going to cut it right in half here, and that should be able to hold that on. So let me go do that with a hacksaw, and I'll get back to you. Okay, let's see if this thing screws on here properly. There we go. Yep, that ought to work. Ish. Okay. But I need to make the collar that goes behind here. And I also figured I'd at the same time print at least a decoration for this one gear that goes in here. So I'm going to cut those out. What I did was I need to cut this off. This support slash, it's a straw, in essence, a very strong straw, bent down. And at some point, what we will do is we'll run this tube through and into the ink well. And that'll be how we squirt the ink out the nozzle, okay? So let me go ahead and cut these out and get the spacing and figure out all this. This is where I'll hide the gears for being able to make these rotate, counter rotate. I've got an idea for that. It's going to require probably some 3D printing of a mechanism that goes back here so that when one spins this way, the other spins this way. It would be really neat if we could have taken this and made it connected so that we could spin them. But we'll see what we can do. You see my little plush? I put his face on just because it looks a little better. And he's blue on the back, but I went ahead and Sharpied him up so he looks a little nicer. Anyway, okay, I'm ready to glue this texture onto this 3D printed gear here. And I think Bob Ross would agree. It's a beautiful little gear. Such a beautiful little gear. And it's going to go right in there. Ta-da! Okay, I just wanted to make a video of the ink machine all put together and go ahead and run some ink through it. I did not get around to making these counter rotate the gears, or put the texture on them. I did manage to get the texture on one of them, the loose one that goes in here, but as you can see, the paper craft, I still needed to get it to go all the way around, and because the faces are not connected, that made it difficult, and I'd have to fix that. This is completely paper craft. There's nothing 3D printed in there. This is also completely a paper craft, as well as the nozzle, which all I did was reinforce it with a little bit of cardboard. It's not going to be very important to the operation of it, so it can be flimsy. Doesn't matter. Easier just to hold it from back here. So that's what we will have. Now let's go get some ink. And as you can see, I have already inked up my fingers. I should be wearing a glove. Later, I'm not actually going to use ink. I'll show you in a minute what I use after I run some ink through here. Okay, I'm going to hook up the cartridge here and try not to get ink on everything, which is going to be impossible. I don't really have very much ink in here. I just borrowed some ink from a printer cartridge that was almost nearly empty. But it'll work. I thought about just using food coloring, but we want real ink in an ink machine. Come on. Can't put fake ink in there. All right, Boris, do you want to do the honors here? Let's make sure that our tube is coming out. Okay, now for the first time, I am going to try my special ink, and I will show you why it's special in a second. Ink's going in, so let's push it through. If it will go through this little tube. Ah, there we go. It's coming out. It's coming. Don't want this to fall over. Okay. I have a butcher block here, and to demonstrate this is not going to work very well through a butcher block. It's 2 inches thick. But this ink is magnetic. And we have a big magnet down here. If I take it further away, you get bigger spikes. I hope you can see that. Camera and my hands are not working together very good. So I got to be about, with this magnet, to make nice spikes, I got to be about a ½ inch below here. So I need a better table. Oops, I'm losing some. I don't want to lose it. It's expensive. Yeah, I had to buy this. It's kind of expensive. Luckily, I had it still from another project. But I don't want to lose it. I want to get it back. So I wish I had a better platform here that was only ½ inch thick. So I'm going to have to move this over to a ½ inch thick table. So I can do this right and maybe get a couple different magnets to play with it. But it's pretty cool. If I could just get it on camera properly. This is not the best location for this. Let me see if I can move this to the camera. So you can see what happens with the ink and a magnet. Now if we could get those spikes to look like Bendy or the guys from chapter 2, that'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it? So let me play with this some more, make some better videos of it. Okay guys, this is where I wish I had a cameraman to help me out here. So what we have, and I might be repeating myself here, is instead of ink, we chose to use some ferrofluid, which is basically just suspended magnetic fine powder, often from like a laser jet toner, and some oil. I bought mine. You can potentially make it yourself if you can get it right, but I wanted some good stuff. So this was what I got for, I don't remember what it cost, but it's somewhat expensive. And so what you got is, when you put a magnet below it, the spikes come up. Now again, I wish I could get this on the camera better. So as you see, that is purely just a magnet under my table, about a ½ inch away, and my magnet's not huge. It is a strong magnet. That's how big it is. I have a much bigger magnet somewhere, but I couldn't find it right now. And that's my problem, is my workspace is very cluttered, so it's hard to make a movie here. But as you can see, that's what happens. Now let's squirt a little bit more of the fluid into there and see how it adds to it. So here it comes. I can do this with one hand. Another hand over here. Here we go, drop, drop. It gets bigger and bigger. Okay, Bendy, are you coming out of the ink? Ooh, I'm moving over here. Whee! Let's get closer to the camera, maybe. See through this little jar, container I have here. If you pull it away, you can make it do some fun stuff. Alright, now I can go find myself a bigger magnet. I can get some bigger spikes on it. But it's pretty cool. And there you have it. Bendy and the ink machine model with working ink. Zoom in a little bit. I don't have both hands free, so it's hard to use a camera. So let's let it go off to the side here and let it come back. Ooh. Focus. I had a lot of fun to play with. And that's what, when I saw the ink coming out of the ink machine, it reminded me of ferrofluid, and that's why I chose to do it with that. Hope you enjoyed. There we go. That's looking cool.